loud in the chamber, pressure gets colder. Resla walks in, truth riding his shoulder. Here for the shift, tear the mask off pretenders. Beat drop, he's a fucking monster. Cuts through the noise, pulls the lies in the daylight. Every move calculated, every word's a fist fight. Building new codes, stacking bricks for the future. Turning midlife to gold, cut the chains like a suture. Keeps time as a weapon, each tick is a death note. Lights up the skyline, watch the whole city take note. Not chasing the fame, here to freeze what's molten. Break open the silence, keep the truth ice coated. No clock to punch, and he's the one who dictates. Every second's a fuse, watch the skyline detonate. Eyes closed, living from the sideline. No talking, I'ma do it, bitch, it's my time. Everything's swerving, driving off of my tie. But I'm cool as can be, look in my eyes. These some pictures you can't put up on your timeline. More vivid than the NYC skyline. Some crazy shit you can't imagine, only I find. You just coming for a trip inside my mind. The street lights hum with nights in my grip. Voices fade out, but the truth never slips. Shadows on the wall dance slow, then divide. I follow where they lead with the calm in my stride. Breath like smoke, but the fire stays quiet. Dreams turn sharp when the silence goes violent. You see a moment, I'm already past it. My mind's a museum and you can't outlast it.
Fumes again, coffee and
what's good, people? What's good?
Phone full of plans I made to never do them.
Doing some quick setup and I get right to y'all.
Every mirror lately feels I disannoyed. Thought you'd be further now, silent but is loud. Morning light on the pavement, city starting to breathe. Everybody moving somewhere except for me. Maybe the moment's waiting right where I stand. Maybe it's just a step, maybe it's just a plan. Get it together, pick up the pieces you keep dropping on the floor. Get it together. How many maybes till you're walking through that door? Ooh, you keep saying soon, like it's some kind of shelter. Today's all you've got. Get it together. Talking in circles, yeah, friends can see the spin. Say you want changes, but don't let them in. Heart full of almost, room full of half done. You keep on waiting like time owes you one. Sun on the window, music in the air. People laughing somewhere like they don't have a care. Life keeps on moving, wherever you try. Maybe the only thing missing is deciding why. Pick up the pieces you keep dropping on the floor. Get it together. How many maybes till you're walking through that door? Stop saying soon, like tomorrow lasts forever. Right now's all you got. Get it together. Take that step.
All right, what's good, people? What's good? We are in here. Listen, it is a late night. I am tired, so if I seem off of it, especially because it's a Saturday night, not something that I occasionally do, but I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'm still got some stuff going on, which part of it prevented me from actually doing a stream yesterday when I thought I would have had, and I actually did have the energy to do so, but just couldn't do it because I got some stuff I'm taking care of. I got some personal matters that I'm going to be taking care of for a while. But this is the aches and pains of real life, right? Aches and pains of the actual real world. I kind of wanted to do a quick talk and a follow-up on some of the things that we were talking about on the last stream, but it also, depending on how things go into the conversation. Maybe I'll even get into what some of you guys' thoughts, what your processes are, or whatever. As you walk into the chat, say what's up or whatever. I know this is typically the weekend, so people would just look to just really browse around. I mean, you're kind of like people in a China shop. It's kind of weird. Walking around and then trying to figure out what everybody else is doing rather than what you're doing. What is that? I'm hearing something in the background. It's going crazy. Oh, I know. This is crazy. Hold up. That was crazy. I had some weird stuff going on in the background, and I'm still hearing it. What am I still hearing? Hold up. There we go. I don't know what the hell was that. My buttons, see, still working on my Stream Deck, and it's still not working out properly for me. So I'm gonna have to sort that out later as well. So last conversation we were really going into, and we were really having a conversation about, was about audience and the attention when it comes to people and the audience, right? And I get it. This is not really something that people really think about getting into or whatever. But I like having conversation with people about the things that are open and average, and especially the things that people deal with on a regular basis. And because of that, I'm actually going to change some things up for the future goings of this show as well. Because it seems like, not even seems like, I know it pretty much. I've done enough extensive searching and it's enough research on my community to understand where a lot of them actually look at on their spare time, and a lot of where they go, how they spend their time, and also, very important part, how they view the internet. This is a conversation that I think that we're not going to have, because I think it's something that I'm going to be able to just pay attention to myself when it comes to the aspect of how people spend their time, especially given when it is whatever. What's good, Jeremy? I see you in the building. It's very interesting how people want to choose their time and the things they look at, especially versus the community that I run into that like to see things live versus those who are avid watchers of long-form content, and also those who like content which are all fast-paced, meaning it's all shorts content. Like they will spend hours upon hours scrolling through 1 minute, less than a minute to almost 3 minute or more conversations on a short form. It's very interesting diving into those type of dynamics. And it makes me also wonder about the audience that we're dealing with within our heads, but also the people that we look around in real life, but also the people that we assume that we gravitate to. So, great example, right? Normally, I'm doing my own thing in the pre-warm up to the show because I'm taking care of the stuff. I'm walking around in my house and making sure that my girl's good. I'm grabbing a couple of things. I'm trying to make sure everything's set up. But tonight was a different night. Something told me to just sit down, go through it, and then see how things were going to turn out as I got things set up. It was the first time in a long time that I actually sat down ahead of time and actually got things together, right? And in the course of that time, we had at least around 10 people, individual people, show up and also leave. And it was only based on the fact of, not because nothing was going on, not because there was no sound, not because I didn't have anything to say, not because there wasn't a question up, not because they couldn't read the titles or the description or anything. It was simply because of the fact that there was not enough other people here in the room. Now think about that. If every one of those people had stayed, we would probably have 12, 13, 15, or whatever other people in there. But because there weren't already people already in here, other people decided to vacate, right? And I'm paying attention to that psychologically, right? How numbers influence how other people react to the very spaces that they go into, right? It's very interesting. And I think this is like the core premise of why people like they do audience bots, view bots rather, because I think other people won't really come into a space where they assume they they assume that other people are not really in. And I think that's a very, very bad premise that we've already cultivated in the space of streamers, because you can see this all the time when like people talk about Twitch, things like that. So I understand it. I also don't understand the point of people who want to, quite frankly, go around being live all the time and everything like that, and then not really get the kind of respect or the kind of audience that they're looking for, because people are just so dopaminergic. They're just jumping all the time to the thing. If they don't see a quick hit, if they're not quickly being hit in the face, essentially, then they're running off. You know, which is why I find it so funny that so many people will stick around for content that will immediately insult them than it is for them to actually figure out what's going on, and then for them naturally the stimulation actually naturally set in. I think it's so interesting. People will sit around and watch an entire clip of two people or more going at it and not even understand what's going on. I think people are just attracted to noise in general. And that makes me think about, why are we hardwired to be that way? Because I'm realizing that it doesn't have anything to do with what's being said or not being said, but rather it's about if there's enough noise to capture interest. And I guess maybe I'm a bit off because I'm a New York kid at heart. You know what I mean? So I'm used to noise all the time. So me walking into somewhere and hearing a whole bunch of noise doesn't really attract me. I'm just like, okay, I'm out. Like if I'm not catching anything, if it's not really important, I'm gone. And I think a lot of people who are not used to probably city lives, not used to being in industries or, you know, or environments where there's consistently a lot of noise, are not likely to stick around because they're used to it. They're used to the calm. They're used to the quiet. I think there's something in there, and I just need to do a little bit more studying when it comes to how people. Hello, panel son. What panel son? There's no panel. What panel son? What are you talking about, Mom? What are you talking about? But I appreciate you being here. You and Locksmith's in here. Everybody else has just kind of walked through. They walked through, did this, saw the numbers, and then they just kind of just dipped. That's the way it always goes. We know this already. Maybe I don't think it's interesting enough for me to do it, but maybe that will be one of my first like kind of social audits to really go through when it comes to it. Because I think if people really confuse what they think is engagement versus confusion. Just be honest. If you're in a state of confusion, you're alert and you're moving around, but you really don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you really don't know what the fuck you're looking at, and you really don't know what to pay attention to. Can we just keep it a buck? If you're in a quiet group setting or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear shots cracking off, everybody's like darting, everybody's super alert, and you feel that adrenaline rush, but nobody knows what's going on. It's a panic. And I think that's what happens in a lot of these spaces as well. I think as long as people feel like they're hearing noise, if they're hearing ricochets, if they're hearing cracks, firing going back and forth verbally through people's mouths, I think this is the stuff that keeps them up there. And people will just sit there in a state of confusion for hours, if you ask me. And then when you ask people, I was asking this about our last stream, what do you remember from the conversation, right? Most people couldn't tell you what the conversation was about. They can only really tell you what the person was there basically saying. Now, they have no idea if the person derailed the conversation. They have no idea if the person was bringing up something that somebody has the answer that had nothing to do with the conversation, another form of derailment. They have no idea if the initial conversation was the thing that was not being talked about, because everybody now had to attack a straw man or any other fallacy that gets brought up there. So I think a lot of people really come in trying to figure out what's going on because enough of the content, or to be more specific, enough of the people who may be up, say on a panel, which is why I think a lot of people, at least in particular spaces, are stuck on panel culture. I don't know why, because the panel culture is not even 1%. really, of YouTube. But the idea of that's the only thing that really catches you is like, so there's no real creativity, no nothing, just we're just gonna be out here just throwing shit upside the wall, and that's what you're interested in. And by the way, if that's what you're interested in, that's what you're interested in. I just don't know why, if that is what you're interested in, why then your mind is not paying attention to actually understand what's being heard between the people that are there. You'll be quickly wanting to dip unless people are yelling. And do people have to yell about snow falling? Like, is that what it needs to take place? Like, people need to yell, like, like, yo, I had so much fucking snow that was falling on my car, man. That shit was crazy, man. This shit was crazy. I've never had to deal with this shit before sitting out in freaking Florida, man. Like, is that, do you have to do that in order to? No, I wouldn't think that you would, but it's funny how the algorithm, and not just the algorithm, but also how people find stimulation. It's very, very interesting. You said you can only follow one conversation. You can only follow one conversation at a time. I don't think that's true. Let me tell you why. I think you can follow multiple conversations to expand on what you're saying, to niche down on what you're saying. I think you can only understand one conversation at a time. Because let's be honest, we can have a conversation on the phone and hear other people saying shit all the time, and even follow what the fuck they're saying, and even have a conversation with our friends on the phone, like, yo, what they're saying over here is really crazy, whatever, like that. We can do that. I think following everything what's going on between you and other conversations is where things are going to get a bit tricky. Because let's be honest, people suck at multitasking. But even as we're going to it, right? I was asking you guys several questions about the actual last conversation that we were having about audiences, right? And what was I saying? No, let me go take a look at my dashboard real quick. Oh yeah, so the audience in your head, and the question that was really the ultimate thing I was getting down to was, who's really the one that's making the decisions? At the end of the day, is it you? Is it the people that you are thinking about, or are you being sub-influenced by perceptions that you didn't even gather yet? Which is what I find really, really crazy, by the way. I find that really, really crazy. And there are some people that's going to agree, some people that's not going to agree, whatever. But I think their initial response is going to be based off how they think they perceive themselves, and not really thinking about the situation deeply. Most people go into an initial response, like kind of their lizard brain. They go into the first thing that they think of, and then they answer it, and then they just shoot off at the hip. They don't really think, oh, this is what came to my mind. But wait. Is that really true, though? Let me question my initial thoughts. Some people don't really go 3 to 1 layer deep. You know what I mean? So it's my aspirations have been the content creators, the left turn the panels most, which is crazy because like most of the things that I listen to are not panel content. They're not. I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you right now, I don't think a lot of people even read anymore. I run into a lot of people who can tell me everything that they saw on a panel content, which I don't pay attention to. A lot of people that can tell me what they saw on a YouTube video or TikTok or whatever, but they couldn't tell me anything that they actually found in a book. And I think that's really, really strange because books still exist. They absolutely are still a thing. They absolutely exist. I don't understand why we don't know how these things work. By the way, even audiobooks exist, but you can't even have people really tell you about what they're listening to anymore because they spend their time listening to, honestly, non-scholared, just like other people who want to take up their attention for time. It's really what it is. Your viewership, how many times you spend around, is time. But then also not even trying to get you to engage, which I think is something that is a disservice to the creators themselves. I think if we're going to be up here and at least put on some form of entertainment the same way how comedians do, then at least try to drag the audience into it, get them involved as well. And I think a lot of people are just so passive. And I think we should probably have a conversation with that sometime down the line. I think we have run into a more passive culture than ever before. And I think because a lot of us are just casual observers. A lot of us have expounded to just being flies on the wall. A lot of people who just like, I'm just going to do this while I just listen to this, I'm just listening to that. But they're not really paying attention to what's being given to them. Even if you fall asleep listening to stuff, you can be changed over time. Just something to think about, even though most of you probably won't. Yeah. Who's in your head most? Who exactly is in your head most? Last stream, we talked about the audience that's in your head for those who might not have known. And tonight, I pretty much want to be putting that idea to the test. I guess being a real situation from your own life, a decision that could be something that you're struggling with, it could be something that you're avoiding, could be something you've done because of what other people might be thinking. And I think for the most part, a lot of people are walking around and they're just so used to thinking everything is a debate or everything is therapy, but rather it's just a conversation. And that's why I say, because of that particular type of spacing that people like to hang around in, they actually don't understand the difference between a conversation and an actual debate. What do you mean the goal isn't winning? The goal, even in the debate, was never about really winning. It was about the person who can understand whose point of view the best. It's not a win if they walk around still holding the same views that they have. It's not a win. And that's the funny part about it. Think about how people move around in relationships, why relationships don't really work out this day between sexual dynamics. If everything's about winning, then of course you're always going to have an adversary in your home. It's about understanding so that you guys can have the best conclusion going through your lives throughout that relationship. But if everything's a goal of winning to see who's always on top and who's always on the bottom, it's no wonder that things are just always falling apart the way that they are now. The goal should always be to find out whether you are making the best decision, not you are making a decision that dictates all. I don't know where and why we've developed a new narrative when it comes to just life in general. Or I would say, or whether somebody is actually making these decisions for you. Because it's funny enough, I think most people would want to tell you that they would want to be the person who's in charge of making decisions in their own life. But if you ask someone, they talk about other things, other factors, people, places, and things that dictate how they're going to be the moving in the future. I think it's very, very interesting. Now, last stream, I asked everybody a few questions, but one of them was like, who are you performing for? Who is the person that's in your head that you're performing for? It could be your spouse, it could be your boss, it could be your parents, hell, it could be your children. It really could be. Wanting to be, let's be honest, we see these parents, they want to be the best parent they possibly can, and instead they raise little monsters because they're too busy trying to make sure that they don't look like the bad parents, that they actually create horrible children. Like, I don't think so. I don't think that's true, because I wouldn't say that your only experience or your only conversations with me and Tom. You have your husband, you have your children, you have your grandchildren. When you go out into the world and you see different people, you have conversations with them. You are shaped by your environment and the people that you interact with the most. Even if subtle interactions, by things that you may be watching, not necessarily shows or channels or panels that you watch, which is weird because I even say for so long, like, if there are so many people that keep coming back to my channel for the hopes of something that was never promised to them, never promised to them. And I think that that's not has nothing to do with me. By the way, that has nothing to do with me. If I didn't make a promise to you, I don't understand why you think I should keep it at all. But I think people are just so accustomed to, and I've made conversations about this before, where people see you or where people first met you is where they think you should be all the time. I'm just like, that's crazy. So if I kicked up in the door to your house because I was a part of a police force and we heard there might have been a raid or whatever, if I first came in contact with you because you're sitting on the toilet, is that where I should always think that you're sitting at? That's why I should always think of you all the time, just a person who sits on the toilet? Of course not. Of course not. I would think that every human being is more than our first encounter. We just have to get over our initial encounter of a person to understand that people are much more and much deeper. And I think a lot of people get stuck on the initial interaction, the initial introduction, and they get stuck there. And by the way, shame on creators. Shame on creators who house other creators, like on panels, and don't properly inform their viewers, their guests, their audience of the type of creator that these people are. This is crazy. So you say in your recliner, right? So should I assume that every time I see you that you're in a recliner? Of course not. Hey, what are you doing here in the market? You should be in a recliner. Hey, why are you going to go use the bathroom? There's no recliner in there. But for some reason, the mental stagnation that a lot of people have for where they meet people, the same way how I say it's this weird hostility, right? If they see you arguing with somebody that they like, right? Now, everywhere that you go that they happen to run across you, they're carrying hostility, even though your hostility has never been towards them. And they're carrying hostility for you, for somebody else that you were having a conversation with. You wasn't even having a conversation with them. You know what I mean? It's weird to have that harbinger of anger that you're having for other people. You got this every time, like, you see that person, all of a sudden now you're mean and you're nasty. And it's like, seriously? What are you doing? Like, I don't even know you. But I remember that time when you was talking to the wench, and that was a conversation I had with her. What's that got to do with you? Like, why are you? She's nowhere here. She's nowhere talking. We're not in that situation. Why are you being nasty to me? Like, and people don't question themselves when it comes to that. And I've had these conversations before, on my platform, even in other people's even conversation with other people online. And they're just like, yeah, I don't really get that. And sometimes I even have to have back side conversation with people where they're just like, can I talk to you about something? And I'm just like, yeah, sure. And they lay out things that they're having a problem with. Sometimes it is a problem with they maybe have with how they are viewing themselves when it comes to content. Maybe they're thinking of new ideas, but they're thinking like, I want to try this, I want to try that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. And I go, why? And they say things like, well, it's not what my audience is into. And I'm just like, who's the one that creates content? Who's the one that does the videos? Who's the one that's creating the shorts? Who's the one that does the live streams? You should be always experimenting. You should always be introducing your people to new people and to new ideas and to new forms of content, and also your perspective. I think there's a lot of people who are so focused on, oh, what's good, cousin Lawrence? I see you in here. There are so many people that are so interested or so focused on what other people think that they forget the entire reason that they started content creation in the first place. And I've said this for a long time. This is why a lot of people don't understand why I'm willing to take huge breaks or even just say nope and cut tumors out. Because so many people are just saying, all for the sake of viewership, all for the sake of numbers, all for the sake of all these different things, all for the sake of eyeballs, all for the sake of. At some point, you're doing all this work to build up a channel, to build up a community. Keep that word very important. Community. And then to do all this work, to build all this time, effort, and then turn around and say, I'm just going to hand it to other people that are not doing anything, that's not going to do anything, that's not putting forth any real effort to help me. I'm going to give my channel over to them because why? Why? Why would you hand, why now all this, you had all your self-worth to be able to start your channel, to do everything you had to do, but now all of a sudden you don't have any self-worth and you're going to give it all to strangers who would easily just say, do what I tell you to do, even if it's no good, even if everybody else doesn't like it. Let's be honest. If Jeremy's up here, he wants a particular thing that Lawrence doesn't want, that you don't want, Mom, or anyone else, you're all going to go back and forth about it. But what's that have to do with the person who actually puts up their time, effort, makes the thing happen, makes the room happen? And this is why I also say, start your own fucking channel then. Like, stop telling other people what to do with their shit. If you really know what you're doing, start your own. Make it happen. Show us. Show us better than you telling us. I don't ever have a problem with someone who puts in the work. I do have a problem with people who keep talking all the time and have nothing to show. I say that all the time. But if you notice the conversation that we're having, right? We're talking about a whole bunch of other people who are trying to influence others that are outside of the decision that they have to make. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people turn around and say, Resla, why don't you just conform and do the easy thing? I'm like, because the easy thing to you is not easy for me. It's not. It is not an easy thing for me. Because I would rather do what I like than do something that I hate. And I mean hate. I mean detest. I would rather watch flies fuck than do that thing. Because it's like a relationship, right? How you got them is how you have to keep them. And a lot of people don't want to look at it that way. So if you walked in talking about you Big Daddy King, and you snuff people in the streets, and that's how you got your partner, you're gonna have to keep that up. If you came through holding your wallet out and you paying for everything and you spent all the kind of money, you're gonna have to hold that. If you come up here talking about you big shit, and you never lost a fight in your life, you're gonna have to hold that. And guess what? If you got a very talkative person now that you're showboating for, that person's gonna put you in a lot of situations for you have to keep trying to hold that. And you're going to fall. And the day that you do, no matter how many years go by, the day that you do slip, the day that you do fumble, you're not going to be able to hold that position anymore because your entire brand, your entire ethos was built on the fact that you are unbeatable. And I think a lot of people, not even I think, I know, I've seen, I still witness a lot of creators still proclaim to be things that they have yet to show. And a lot of people who have put in a lot of work to build themselves to a particular standing with people just to have them ultimately be the people that they submit to. That wouldn't happen for me. It just wouldn't happen for me. Either we're all coming up doing the same thing, we're all coming up with the thing that we all enjoy, or we're not coming up at all. It's just that simple. But there's no way in hell I would ever just give away something for other people to tell me what to do with my shit. I thought that was the reason a lot of people don't want to work anymore. They are tired of other people telling them what to do. So why would I turn around and do a lot of work to have other people tell me what to do? Like man, it's weird. It's really, really weird. What? Why? Why would that happen? Why would I allow that? Especially people who don't contribute. I never really understood that. And this is why I challenge that the ideal that it's about what other people want. And I'm just like, no, that's the audience in your head. Who told you that? Where did you get that from? Who told you it is your job to do this to just relinquish it afterwards? It is your job to build a company for you to turn around and then just give it away. That's not the way that works. You want to try to hold on to as much control of that business, to that thing that you put your blood, sweat, and tears on for as long as possible. And the idea that people out there just saying, well, no, you should just do, I should. Okay, show me your resume and then show me all the reasons that I should be paying attention to what the fuck you're talking about. I'll wait. You know? You said in truth, you had so many people tell you in real life to come across the scary part. Yeah, listen. Yeah. And a lot of people will put you in disgusting situations like that. A lot of people would. I've had that happen to me on jobs, especially when I was my small time as a bouncer. You got all the guys that was bigger than I was, and they was like push me forward to go like, take care of a situation. And I'm just like, you sons of a bitch. Like, oh, I hate you. I hate. And I still handle it. Still handle it. Take care of it. And definitely had some rough times. I've definitely seen people get into some really nasty shit and just go, damn, I'm so lucky that wasn't me. You know? Well, here's the funny part about that, right? Let me put it this way. Because I've said this online, I'm going to say it to you, right? In order for a person to see interesting things, one themselves must be interesting, right? Now, here's the thing about that. How many people walk around thinking that they themselves are interesting? That doesn't happen. Because that means you'd have to be around a lot of other people who are always doing interesting things. And most of us, if we're around other people who are also doing interesting things, right? If we're doing it as a habit, then we don't consider it to be interesting. We consider it to be normal, which means that it's other people who see us doing something that they themselves are not inclined to want to do that finds them interesting. That's how you become an interesting person. When I started doing this, I didn't do this going, you know what? When I started this, I'm going to do this because you know why? I'm an interesting person. You know what I mean? People should listen to me. I'm so fucking, I'm that guy. I am that dude. People should definitely be listening to me. That was never the thought process. People find me or found me or whatever the hell you want to put it interesting. Number one, because I'm doing something that a lot of people don't want to do or feel that they cannot do or whatever other excuse they want to have. Then they find you interesting based on the things that you wish to discuss, the way that you label your things out, or things that happen in your own experience. Because there's really not a lot of experience that I have that I can't say that other people don't also have in life. I think a lot of people are so used to being lied to on a regular basis, right? That when they run across someone, say like myself, who are willing to go say things mainly in the truth, it's refreshing to them. It's refreshing. And again, this idea of truth tellers, oh, if I'm a truth teller, I must be, because of how social media has been for a lot of people. If I'm a truth teller, I'm an asshole. I'm just being mean, rugged, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, to be a truth teller, you're going to have to say things that are going to make people feel uncomfortable. But I think based on how we see a lot of motivational content or whatever, a lot of people just look at people who are truth tellers as just strictly being assholes and more like if you can't do what I do kind of thing, you'll never measure up. And that's not my premise. That's not my attitude towards things. I've seen plenty of assholes who are liars all the way through and through, and they make it. I've seen people who are very truthful, and for the most part, they've done pretty well for themselves. I won't say make it, because even when I'm like, and I even, by the way, when I'm saying make it, I'm saying they've gotten very hard and they've reached the length that they wanted to make, not the length that you think. Because then it's a conversation that people don't want to, that people are gonna drag into, that no one actually said. Well, what do you mean by you say by made it success? Well, how do you know success is for them? They're saying much for me. Again, another straw man. Shut the fuck up. Bringing in conversations that had nothing to actually be there. Like, I just covered that shit in a whole goddamn video. How about you listen to understand and not listen to respond? I feel like I had to do that real quick. My bad. Because you can automatically, we've seen all the different archetypes already. People are not as unique as they believe that they are. Can we just call that out as being something that's important? People are not not nearly as unique that they want to believe, as special as they want to believe they are. They're not. They're following the path that someone else has created. Because those who are truly exceptional, or as you even put, Mama, those who are really that interesting have to do things that typically are not done. They have to be weird. They have to be weird. They have to be willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. They have to be the motherfucker that want to go sleep in a cave full of spiders and snakes. They have to be the ones. Most people are not going to opt for that. They got to be the weirdos. They got to be the one while people are out there swatting away cobwebs and shit like that. They're the ones playing around and petting a pet rat. They have to be the weird ones. They have to be comfortable with discomfort. They have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And a lot of people are not built that way. And there's a difference between you're just used to bad shit happening to you and now you're in a place of complacency versus you're comfortable in the mud. There's a difference. So a lot of people love to conflate. Compare and then conflate. There's a difference. You're not built the same. You have to think about that for a moment. Because there's going to be people like, no, that's not. Damn, he just said something that was, yeah, I don't want to agree, but shit. There's a difference between you getting used to being beat up and you willfully going into an arena where you have to fight and get beat up. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference between you getting jumped in your neighborhood because you're looked at as the runt, or the easy target, and you getting fucked up, and you deciding to go become a boxer or being in an MMA or whatever, and you're gonna get fucked up. There's a difference. One, you subject yourself to and you just become compliant, and the other one, you accept that these are the actual terms and conditions for life. And a lot of people don't think about it that way. They know it. Intuitively, they know it, but they don't want to think about it. I don't feel like I'm unique at all. I don't think unique is the word for me. If I was unique, I would be able to show it. I don't even, to be honest with you, Lawrence, I don't even think I'm that much above average. I'm not at the bottom of average, because even average has a scale. Average has a sliding scale. And that sliding scale depends on when you were born, who you were born to, where you went, how much you make. It's a sliding scale. Some people are average, but they're on the lower end of average. And some people are average and they're on the higher end of average. And depending on the viewpoints of the community, keep that word in mind, the community that they're in will determine what is considered to be average in that sliding scale of perspective. That is really what it is. Someone who's doing really well, who's always lived up, say, up north in New York for me, can really think that they're doing really fucking well and everything. And for them in their town, they're doing it, they're killing it. And then throw them in the concrete jungle here, and it's gonna be different rules for them. And they're going to have to learn to adapt, and they're going to realize that a lot of things that they're looking to use or the tools that they would need is not readily available for them. The same way for me, if I have to go upstate New York, where now it's farm and cattle land and shit like that, I can't say I'm going to be the same. I'm not going to have the same advantages. I'm not going to have the same understanding. So I'm going to have to learn to adapt. Everything is situational. I think the thing that we need to really focus on when it comes to being in the standard of average is competence. Can you learn? Can you adapt? And I think there's a lot of people who don't give themselves enough credit in not just saying that they believe that they are average, but this is the part that's important. Being able to say, yes, I can adapt. I can adapt. Not saying I don't want to, but rather, if this happened to me, I'm going to adapt. I'm willing to adapt. If, let's just say some bullshit happened, right? If some bullshit happened and I had to leave the city, I had to keep my head low and I had to leave the city and I had to go out to some farm country. Do you think life is just over for me? No, I'm going to learn to adapt. I'm going to learn how to raise cattle. I'm going to learn how to farm. I'm going to have to learn to deal with manure. I'm going to have to learn to shepherd or whatever the fuck else. It's not like, oh, the world, I can't do this. It's not. And I think a lot of people, even when they see that type of lifestyle, they just can't. They immediately go, I can't do that. That's not my mindset. To me, it's just you have to adapt, and it's a new skill that you didn't know before. And by the, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having a skill that you didn't have before? You'd be surprised how much that skill is going to be able to help you in the future. If anything, you have to ask yourself this. If these are skills, or there are skills that you find very interesting that you're not accustomed to running across, right? Like hunting, like rock climbing, like camping, things like that. Why aren't you taking the time to learn it? Now, you can say the chances, because the chance of that happening to me and me having to do all that shit are slim to none. Might be true. Does not mean that the skills that you will learn from that wouldn't be beneficial. The things that you would be able to learn, the things that you will be, no, listen, me learning I learned how to pitch a tent after me being in working in production. Because me starting out in production, the first thing that we have to learn are rope tying. The moment you stop taking shit in and off a truck and you start actually being on a stage, for those who know, like, damn, Ruck would be great if he was here. Ruck would know this. When you first start working on a stage, do you know they consider the stage to be like a ship? How many of y'all knew that? When you are working on a stage, they call the stage a deck. Now, there's different kinds of decks, presidiums, like different kind of stages, right? But the ideal is that when you are on the deck, you have to call out particular commands, and the commands are often ship references. A lot of people don't know this. Just like there's a different way that you communicate from being on the deck versus being out in the audience. You have to think about how the person is viewing you, not just how you're viewing the person, which is funny enough. I do that a lot when it comes to you guys. So we don't cause misdirection. That happens a lot. And a lot of people don't really pay attention to these things. Yeah, you're on deck. Yeah. One of the first things you learn when you're in production is you have to learn ropes. You have to learn tying. How to tie things, how to tie cables. But before you even think about how to bring in and how to bring up cables and everything at a proper length and how to rope cable and everything, you have to learn rope ties. Different types of rope ties, boxes, cow hitches, freaking clove hitches, and all kind of. You have to learn all these different things. And all of these different styles of rope tying are all things that you learn from ship knots. Below deck, above deck, right and left. You have to learn all these different things. So as you build your way up in this system, you have to consider how you're going to be moving around your life. Now, there are so many different things, and I think this is one of the things that got me into one of the places that I worked in. Do I know ropes? Yes, I do. It's the first thing you have to learn. Before I can learn to do anything else, before I can learn to put equipment on pipes, stage pipes, before you learn how to start messing with electrical equipment. And I was a lighting designer for a little bit. I was a stage tech for a while. I was a person that worked in sound for a little bit. Like, for a little bit, I was a shop steward. So I had to learn a lot of different stuff. Before you can learn to do anything intricate, you have to learn the basics. I would be that motherfucker who can hang from a harness over 50 feet in the air to secure things. I would be the person who would come around trying to tie pipe almost 30 feet or more in the air on what we call a genie lift. It's the scissor lift that brings you all the way up and then brings you all the way back down with controls. Like, you got to do all that different stuff. I did that for multiple years. And even annually, I kind of help out on some stuff. Actually, it's from working in production is how I got over a lot of my height anxiety. I used to be a person that was afraid of heights. Now, there are still particular heights that I'm just not cool with, but there's a lot of heights that I'm okay with now. I'm just It doesn't even bother me. I'm just walking, cool, do it in the dark, all that stuff. But I had to learn that because we have suspended catwalks that can be 100 feet in the air. And it's just metal grids. And you're just walking on metal grids. It's roughly in the dark, above everybody, above the entire audience, everything. And we would operate boom lights, follow spots, manual follow spots, and you learn about different lighting techniques and all different stuff. We had to do that for a long time. It's not a problem. It's just things that you have to learn to overcome. Now, the same way how you say interesting, right? All I did was one thing. Told you a little bit of a background about the things that I do. You yourself decided if that was interesting. To me, it's not interesting. To me, it's the thing that I just had to do. See how that works? So there are things that you've done in your own experience that there's someone else who's going to look at that and say, that's interesting. These are the people that you're talking to. These are the people who are going to be your people in the future. So it's not about whether you see yourself interesting, but rather if other people can see your thing and find it to be interesting. And that's the thing. People don't know until we talk. Yet there's so many people that just want to talk about things that don't mean anything. Not to them or to other people in the future. We have to talk about the things that we know, starting with ourselves, because let's be honest, over time, we can talk about a lot of different stuff. But let's just be honest. If we've been watching somebody long enough, we kind of want to get to know who they are. And a lot of you guys have heard me talk about a lot of different subjects or a lot of different things or whatever, but I get people, whether it's on Discord or it's very rare on email now. So it's mainly through Discord. And I got a lot of people that keep trying to reach out to me on Discord that want to know more about me. Even to the point where I'm just like, you know what? Maybe once in a while, I may have to do a Q&A stream. Because people want to know things. They want small talk. That doesn't mean that everyone's entitled to everything in your life. Definitely have your boundaries. But people are naturally curious. I like watching you. How did you come to be? How did you come to be the person that I enjoy watching? Oh, you can say that. Small talk can be boring if the things that you are talking about are consistent. So, hi, how you doing? How's everything today? Oh, so this weather, like that shit is boring. Like I've always been the person that enjoy talk about things that people say don't talk about. So if I'm at a job, people say don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, and don't talk about money. And I go, I'll talk about politics, but I'm letting you know I don't care. I'll talk if you really want to get into politics, we can talk about politics, but I'm not doing a back and forth with you. If you ask me, but Resla, what do you think about that? I'm gonna say, well, this is what I think about that. And you go, really? With that motherfucker? I say, I don't care. Like this means more to you than I did. Well, how could you how could I? Because I did. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do to change my mind. It happened. You don't like it? Do yourself a favor. Go swipe out, go to the bathroom, jerk off. And after you get it out your system, wash your hands 3 times. And then you can come back. And then we can just have a regular productive day. Baby girl, what's going on? You do know a lot about me. You know enough about me. You know enough. I have no problem talking about some aspects when it comes to religion, because I meet people. Listen, I used to work with a guy who's a preacher, Everybody loved this guy. I love the guy. The guy was a great guy. And then sometimes he would say things, and I look at him and just be like, I just look at him like, he'd be like, what? And I'm just like, you say that, right? But if we go to Timothy, and he looks at me like, what you know about? And I'm like, not everybody who's super religious, and we would have a conversation. Because like, how do you know so much about the Bible and you challenge me on this and this and that, to the point where he was a manager in his department. I was a manager in my department. Our departments would cross each other and work with each other. And then lunchtimes and things like that, we would have conversations. We would just talk. We would just have private little conversations. We would find a corner, lunchtime, and we're just going back and forth. I'm like, okay. He's like, whoa, nope. To the point where he would do things like, nope, Resla. And he would pull out the Bible. Nope. I got you right here. I got you right here. And I'm just laughing. I'm just like, oh God, he literally brought his, like, did you bring your Bible out your car, sir? Did you bring the Bible out your car just to get you? Like, you knew this was coming, didn't you? That all right, fine. I gotta get my phone out. I gotta get my phone out now. We would go back and forth, and people thought like we were like arguing, but honestly, it was just great, friendly banter, and people were just like, yo, we shouldn't be talking about religion. And I'm just like, not if the ideal is to just have friendly conversation. By the way, same way. I said this before, and I still say it again. I've had plenty of ladies that turn around and they go flirting with me, and the women go, yo, are you bugging? I've literally had an HR person like, hey, you can't do that. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend. I didn't mean you. And I'm just like, I'm not offended. I don't care. But we know his girlfriend and everything like that. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I know my girlfriend too. Like, if I didn't go out of my way to say like, hey, you're crossing a line, like, why are all of you heifers speaking for me? She didn't disrespect me. Is it disrespectful that even though I have a girlfriend, some other woman turned around and said, damn, I'm sorry, I lost what you were saying. I just thought you were so handsome. And I'm just like, girl, please, like, stop. And the other girl's like, oh, you can't be saying that to him. I'm like, shut up, Crystal. Who asked you? Continue. What were you saying? Like, and you think guys are bad when it comes to policing? Like, who asked you? And it be like that. I've had HRs that's gonna say, hey, I just want to let you know, let us know. Like, it felt like they came and they knocked on my office door, on the office door from my team. And then they went to my office and they were just like, hey, can I have a conversation with you about it? And I was like, close the door. They're like, hey, just let us know if she's making you feel uncomfortable or something like that. It felt like a wrestler. If you're really uncomfortable, like, blink twice kind of shit. And I'm just like, Kevin, are you high? Are you okay? Why are you all right now? Like, why did you, who said this? I know she didn't come to you to turn around and say, hey, Kevin, I just want to let you know I've been essaying Resla, and I just want to let you know that he's okay with it. He's cool with the essay. I just want to let you know, as a work thing, that the essay between he and I is a consensual one, and that's not the way that happens. It's other heifers that more than likely felt uncomfortable with the fact that they couldn't flirt with me, or that they felt too uncomfortable to flirt with me, went to HR. HR, knowing what it was, still had to do their job, say something to them, which made them feel uncomfortable, then came to me, and then I just said, let's settle this right now. after I had a conversation with them, he's like, okay, I just want to make sure everything was good. I said, no, let's stop right now. Let's stop right now. I said, we need to make this a thing. So I got up out my desk, walked with him to his office, called her in, called her manager in. We left the other hussies there. Called her manager in, came in and said, she flirts with me. She says she thinks I'm cute. She thinks I am, dare I say, sexy. She knows that I have a girlfriend. She's known my girlfriend. She's been my girlfriend. Everything has been really cool. We've been copacetic. I never had a problem with it. I don't feel violated, and it wouldn't be that bad. But don't you? That's not what we're here. And they're like, oh my god. They're like, Resla. I'm like, I'm kidding. We're kidding. I just want to let you know. Hey, I'm letting you know, if we're having this friendly banter, there's nothing wrong. You don't need to write her up. There's nothing like it, everything is great. Is every I'm okay with it. Until she starts reaching out, pinching butts or something like that, we're good. And I guarantee you, if it ever came down to that, I would probably handle it first before anything else. We're cool now? Hey, you have my consent to verbally SA me to an extent, so long as you don't reach out and grope me. Is that cool? And they were just looking at me like, I can't believe he just did this. And because you know why? They have to document it. Now they have no choice. They have to document it. They have to document the talk happened. They have to document what the agreement was. Since you wanted to make a big thing, it is what it is. Oh, and by the way, and then after everything, we all get out, and all they have is a quiet. They pretending and shit. They on the phone now. Now I gotta make it real hot. I gotta walk over and say. Now she sits down. She's just like, she'll put her headset back on, and she's gonna, and I just go. She goes, and she's like, hey, what time you off work? I'm thinking you and I need to go grab a drink. Really have a good talk after all this. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that you and I are really good. That was a very hot conversation. I'm very, very stimulated. And she's like, boy, you better go. And I'm just like, I'll go a few rounds if you want to. And she's like, go away. And I'm just like, I got you. And she's like, not yet. I'm like, ha ha. Just to make them all uncomfortable. All of them uncomfortable. Exactly. You know what getting the drink means. Just make them squirm now. They did too much. Chris, what's going on? Just make them all uncomfortable. I have not been written up for harassment, for harassment. I don't know why I'm like, you just had me drop, like, for some reason I just dripped. Wow. Crazy. I don't know why I just dropped into a very work mode for some reason. Like, I really did drop, like, sexual harassment, like, we're grown adults. I don't know why I started, like, abbreviating everything. I'm just realizing that, like, I got into a work mode real quick. That was crazy. Like, I really just dropped into a work mode. I have never been written up for sexual harassment. That's the only time that people ever came to me about really sexual harassment. Oh, here's one that's really funny. So there was a summer worker, right? Oh, this shit. I was worried about losing my job at one point. So there's a summer worker. She was working in a very particular department, Beautiful chick. I mean, from the door when I saw her, she first came in to do her paperwork because I was in charge of people who were doing their. I had a department. I had two departments. I had two departments in my department. So I had my main department of people who were of compliance, and then I had another department who were the administrative staff who worked on like onboarding, things like that. So we're not HR, but we're like sub kind of HR because we work with HR a lot. So since we were like the first point of contact for a lot of things, we also took care of all like onboarding, which begs the question what the fuck HR did. But that's what we did for that. And there's this one chick, she came in and from the door, I was just like, she was lovely. She was lovely from the start. They're like, oh, we need to put a picture for your ID. I was like, I got it. And I have my camera. So I was like, she's like, oh, you got a whole professional camera. Like, oh, you guys are really, really on it when it comes to like, yeah. We're really professional here. We do only the best. And and the ladies in my department were just like, look at this motherfucker. Look at him. Look at him. He's just cheesing his ass off. Look at him. He doing the most right now. And I mean, did all that shit, got a picture. Like people were to the point where because I use my camera, because I use this camera. I use this very camera. Not this lens though. I had a different lens at the time, but I used this very camera. Where other people were just like, when she started working and she was being on the sales floor, and they were like, "We like what's up with your photo?" And they would come to me and they were like, "Can I do another photo for my picture?" Like mine sucked. Like they would ruin their badges. They would find ways to fuck up their badges. They'd be like, "Can we just get another picture taken altogether?" I'm like, "You just don't want to reprint you another badge?" Like, no, I need a whole new picture. I'm like, "Oh, really, huh? Is that right? You need a brand new picture, huh? Is that it? No, you don't need a new picture. You don't. Now, the sad part about it is that over time, she and I would talk, especially because I would move around. I'm very friendly. I get to know people all over the place or whatever. What I didn't know, I didn't know who her father was. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. I did not know who her father was. I just thought she was just a temporary worker. And as we had a manager leave the company, they were trying to fill in the position for that management spot. And I was just like, I ain't going for that spot. That spot's crazy. I would never do that spot. And he came up as a business partner, and then he moved into that position as an ops manager, which means he was directly above me. And I was like, this man is my fucking boss now. Okay, cool. No problem. He and I never really had a problem with each other. Bit of a accent difference. So but I mean, he was always cool. Like, hey, we talk about this, we talk about that. Like we would have slower conversations, and then we eventually like just catch on to how he is and the note taking and everything. But then he was leaving one time and he knocked on my door. And then he said, "Are we good on that thing that's taking place on Thursday?" It was a Thursday. I remember that because this might have been a Tuesday. I said, "Yeah, we're good. We're good on that. Everything said on that. If anything changes, the contingency is this." I'm actually typing it right now. I'm going to forward it to you. And then she rolled by, and then she hugged him from the back, and I was just like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And I just looked at him like, he's like, "You met my daughter, right?" And I was like, "Huh? Your daughter?" He's like, "Yeah. She's outside the country. She's coming here. She's spending the summer with me, whatever. And she's a summer worker here." And I was just like, "Oh, uh, Yeah. I took her picture. She's like, yeah, my picture looks really good. He was like, oh, Resla, he's the best, right? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, I love it. Everybody keeps talking about my picture. Like, I love it. He treats me really well. I was like, I treat everybody well. Hey, I treat everybody well. He's like, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Woo! That shit was a lot. Now, what made it worse in the end was that almost more than summertime went by, and then other people, mainly the people in my department, fucking people, were making it hot, and he realized that I had the hots for his daughter. Like, and we were having a solo meeting, and he mentioned it like, so how do you feel about my daughter? And I was like, what you talking about? Like, I'm gonna say his name is John. John, what you talking about? Well, I was talking to my daughter, and I noticed that you guys were actually having lunch. We were talking to her, and she said she really likes you. It's really cool. I just want to know what you think of her. I was like, she's she's a good girl. She's a good girl. She's a nice girl. Nice to work with. Smart, energetic, nice, attractive. He's like, huh? What was that? I was like, magnetic. She's very magnetic. She's like, she gets a lot of attention. I think she's very forward facing, forward facing for a lot of for people. No, okay, cool. You know, that's cool. It wasn't until way later when she was leave. It was like after she left and everything. It was way later. He was like, if you would have asked her out, I think that would have been nice. I was like, this mother. I was livid. And this was before my girlfriend. I was just like, this motherfucker here. That's crazy. Which is funny enough, because I went to go tell my girlfriend, who wasn't my girlfriend at the time. She was like, so what happened with you and that girl? I was like, listen. And I would explain the whole thing, but I think we were having lunch together, and we were talking, and then she was like, nigga, you fucked up. And I was like, I did. Funny enough, down the line, she's the one I'm with. But she was at the time, she was like, you fucked up. But it would have been really weird. And I was like, not until he said, and she was like, wait, he said what? I was like, yeah, he did. But even if we look at that, right, I have to consider all the audiences that were there. Because part of the reason why I never thought about pursuing her is because I had it in my mind everything that would be happening with this guy who's my boss at the time. Well, I don't like my boss's boss, but he's my boss. And then also had to deal with the scenario that also happened with the woman in the call center. And she also has to deal with a lot of people who are around her, who are her audience. And then I have to deal with the audience of my people and my staff that sit there and conjuring all these different narratives. How many of us are actually dealing with this on a regular basis? How many of us deal with the fact that we make decisions in our own lives based on the perception or the ideals of other people in our lives? How do we do that? Why do we do that? How detrimental is it? Are we reading more into it than we should be? Because it happens all the time. All of the time it happens. And I'm always wondering, like, if we had an idea in our head, or if we had the things that we wanted to do, would just doing them really be such a bad thing? And again, if there's a misunderstanding or if there's lack of information or whatever, we should just be able to say that. We should just be able to move on with that, be able to say, hey, my bad, I didn't know, whatever. And then we can course adjust. But instead, we tell ourselves so many different things that happen, right? And then we never actually take a shot. We never take a shot. We give other stories that weren't actually there. And we make that become the reason. Great example. Now that I'm thinking about the perfect example. I think we've all heard this, right? To my fellas, how many of you guys see a chick? She could be working with you, working at the same job, in the streets, whatever. Someone that you come across. Maybe she's working at. She could be a chick working at, I don't know, fucking McDonald's for all you know. And instead of saying something or making your approach, asking her, maybe somebody you've had several conversations with. This could be someone that's on your morning commute or commute to work or whatever. Instead of you saying something, right? You put in your head, I can't. Someone as good looking as her, she probably already got a man. You know what I mean? I can tell you how many times I've run across beautiful women who are single. Mainly because there are guys, much like yourself and much like guys I'm talking about, who do not approach. There are guys who are consistently creating narratives for people, and therefore they never take their opportunity and never take their shot. And because of that, wow, people are dying this weekend. This is like the third or fourth ambulance that's coming by me. But like, because of that, they're not making their approach because they psych themselves out. I mean, come on, ladies. You know this already. You know that this is a regular thing that happens with a lot of guys. I don't even really need to really explain this to you. You've heard this a lot. You can see it on so many different podcasts and everything. And I'm not talking about incels. I'm talking about normal guys. Normal guys do this. And it is what it is. I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at them. I understand that this is something that takes place. What else can be done about it? Right? That reminds me. Well, I won't be able to see it here anyway. It's all good. Like, this happens all the time. And I think a lot of people, just like in life, we just don't take enough shots. People are worried about the shots that a lot of people are worried about the shots that they make, but they don't worry about the shots that they take. Every shot, let's just put it for basketball, every shot that you throw gets you closer and closer to that aim to actually get it into the bucket. But if you take no shots, you'll never know how close you're gonna get. And sometimes you gotta make a shot, and someone go, hey, no, answer's no, can't do it, can't be there. You're shooting from the foul. You're shooting from beyond the foul line, from beyond the 3 line. You can't make it. You're just not skilled enough. And that's fine. You could just work your reps up, work your way up, and you can make that happen. That's not a problem. But I think too many people psych themselves out, like the same way as that their audience is now the person in their head, this particular person, is saying that if I approach her, it's gonna be bad. And then, to be honest, I wish there was a way that we can all do this. I wish there was a better way that we can all absorb this so that we can make better decisions for ourselves when it comes to life. I wish there was a way that we could make know our vitamin. I think there are too many things that we just don't give ourselves a chance to do. And I mean that for a lot of things. Trying new foods, travel, talk to people that we want to talk to, try new skills. There's so many things that we tell ourselves no to ahead of time. And that's a shame. Because I asked myself, and I'll ask you as well, how much time do you think you got? How much time do you think you have in this world that you're going to be able, that when you finally make up your mind and say, I should really go do that thing. How much time do you think you got? You're not getting it younger. You're not getting it younger. I'm pretty sure there are friends that we've had to split up apart, and they're probably thinking somewhere along the lines, maybe a year or two, or every year or every other year, or whatever. And someone goes, that guy Resla, man, I wonder what he's doing. It's a shame that situation, that friendship is gone. I think that was a really good one, and I don't know what happened. I think there are some people that go through exes in their relationship. They go just like, damn, I'm smarter and I'm better now than I was back then. But honestly, kind of wish I did more to hold on to that. And by the way, it's healthy to have these thoughts. Now, I don't know if it's healthy to dwell on them. I wouldn't say that, but it's healthy to have those thoughts to consider the growth and what we've actually done and how we move forward. And I don't think enough people are really taking that into consideration, because we have no problem dwelling on mistakes that we made. But for some reason, we have no problem also conjuring up how other people are thinking about us, and then therefore making decisions based on thoughts that we don't even know if are real. I don't want to do that because they're going to be disappointed in me. Said who? Who? Who said that? Who told you that? Where did that come from? Where did you get that notion from? How do you know what's really going to take place until you actually do it? How many of you guys are okay with making a mistake and asking for forgiveness later? Not everything is a life or death decision. So why do we act like it's our life or death decision? Why? I'm not asking you to gamble all your life savings away, but I realize that there's so many things that will not kill you. That if everything really didn't go well, tomorrow will be a brand new day, and you would still have everything that you had before. And you would also have an answer to the thing that you wouldn't have. So why don't you do it? Either man, what's going on? Like, what? Why wouldn't you do it? I think a lot of people just don't want to take a lot of risk, and I'm wondering why. What makes a lot of people this risk adverse? And I think it's because of the not even I think of it's because of the audience that's sitting in our head, the things that we tell ourselves, the people that we say are watching us, the things that we have not proven, the things that we adjust to before actually making the decision that we make. Or worse, making decisions based on how we feel other people are going to be examining us, not really doing it because this is the thing that we think are beneficial for ourselves. Is that wrong, or is that not wrong? I mean, have you ever avoided doing something because of people who weren't even there? Have somebody's opinions ever stayed with you years after they've left your life? Have you ever changed who you are depending on what person is sitting in the room? And then what is one decision that you're actually making for yourself that no one else understood? I said this before about experiences. Why can't you just accept and hold and treasure the experience that you're going through? Why are you sitting there taking photos of it and then posting it? Is it not a true experience because somebody else doesn't get to witness it? It's just food for thought. And as much as I would love to just go through it, I think a lot of people are not really honest with themselves about it. A lot of people just want to they want to sound like they're put together, or they want to sound very philosophical or very matter of fact about life, and judging other people to their would be or possible experiences. I don't even understand why there's so many people that just think that everybody should be them or their perception of them or things that even they themselves have not measured up to. When the question I'm always asking is, what do you think personally for yourself, not what you are trying to prescribe to other people? I do that constantly. And yet when I'm listening to people, I'm going, are you? Like, and yet, me saying these things, me talking to you, me speaking about the audience in your head, the topic, right? You'll have people say what? What exactly? Who are the people that you're talking about? Well, I guess I would be talking to you and asking you, who is the audience in your head? Which is funny enough why I'm making this the conversation about the audience in your head right after, because I think a lot of people, as I had to drop that video, talk about generalizing. And I'm not going to get into that. You should just watch that particular video. And that is what it is. Outside of that, I think I'm going to leave it there. And ruin it because I got some things I got to do tonight as well. I got some things I got to work on. And if I do see you guys again, it'll have to be next week. 'Cause tomorrow I got a lot of stuff going on and I need to get some sleep because I'm currently going through something I got to take care of for real life. As always, right? So I don't know what you're doing with your friends, your family over the course of this weekend, whether you are drinking, whether you are stinking, or whether you are on vacation, or whether you're just relaxing. All I'm going to say is I hope that you take care of yourselves, you take care of your family, and I will see you in the next one. Actually, I got to work on this damn stream deck because it's driving me nuts. So I will, in fact, see you guys on the next stream. I'll be dropping shorts, videos, things like that. And of course, you can catch me on the next stream. All right. And if you come up with anything you're thinking about, be sure to actually post it in the comment section of this video. Later, guys.